Hi, shipmates. Which is better, eating a low-carb diet?
Wait a minute, Gina.
Or a high?
I'm going to interrupt you. You know, we don't have a lot of time today, so what I was thinking we could do for the first 5 minutes is we can discuss and decide which is the best religion first. And then after that, we can decide which is the best political party. and then after that, we could, have a regular discussion about, fats and carbs.
Yeah, which
and
is the better diet, low-fat diet.
Okay. We'll just get these things all settled today, so we don't have to worry about it anymore. Okay.
All right, Jeff is teasing, but that is something that our author talks about in this book, is that it is very controversial. There are two different camps. Well, actually, three different. There's at least three different camps. There is a calorie is a calorie camp. It doesn't matter if that calorie has a bunch of fat in it, if that calorie has a bunch of sugar in it, if that calorie has a bunch of protein in it. You can lose weight based on how many calories you're eating. And a calorie is a calorie is a calorie. So there's that camp. There is the camp of, hey, if you eat a low-fat diet, you will lose more weight and lose more fat by eating low fat. And then the third camp is that, no, eat all the fat and protein you want, but don't eat those carbs. Eat as few carbs as possible, and you will lose the most weight. So there's three big camps here. And Kevin, I just really like this guy. He has his PhD in physics, and he likes doing experiments. And so he did a lot of experiments about this, and he shares the results that he got with those experiments. And every time he did an experiment, he made somebody mad, because there's all those different camps, those three camps I just mentioned.
But he didn't take the debate to argue about it. He just was probably thinking in his mind, what could the next experiment look like to be able to solve that question?
Exactly.
I like that about him too.
Yeah, I do as well. He mentions in here that a lot of people, if they're in one of the camps, what they do is when they find information that agrees with their camp, then they listen to that information and they ignore the information that does not agree with their camp.
That's not just about diets, Gina.
Oh, no. It can be the same for religion and politics and all that.
Cognitive bias or something?
I think something like that. And Kevin is pretty sweet in that he really doesn't have any biases. He just wants to find out the science, which is better. And for those of us who have been dieting our whole lives, and any of you out there, I have tried so many diets, and I have been on all three camps of trying diets. I just want to do something that works. So
that was another camp almost. Like, those people who are really into one thing or another, hey, if it works for you.
Yeah.
There's a group, hey, if it works for you, I don't know.
You know what? I'm kind of part of that camp, if it works for you.
Confirmation bias. Thank you, Mindy.
Confirmation bias. Thanks, Mindy. This is live. This is a weight loss book club for very busy people. So we only do one chapter a week. And today we're doing chapter 4 of Food Intelligence.
Which was the best chapter, Gina?
Yeah. Do you like this the best chapter so far?
You're
just trying to get me to argue. I never know what he's going to come up with. I tell you. My name is Gina. This is my husband, Jeff. I have type 2 diabetes, and I have also been on a Mounjaro journey. And that medication has not only helped bring down my A1C, but I've been able to lose weight, significant weight, and keep it off for the first time in my life. And Jeff does not have type 2 diabetes, and he's not taking any medication.
Right. I do have personal experience. In fact, I have a little story I want to tell. Ooh. So you set up whatever you're going to do and start in your conversations, but I I want to tell my response to that, being not that I'm on a GLP-1.
Yeah, so Jeff has not taken any GLP-1s, but he's also trying to lose weight and be healthier. Jeff, I think I'm just going to let you. Okay. I'm going to let you start because he's got a story he'd like to share.
Now, I realize this is just an anecdotal thing because, hey, all those stories that you saw in the book, in the chapter this time around, there were a lot of those where somebody, a single Arctic explorer did something and discovered, hey, I wonder if this is true, and then came up with that as their mantra. Or there was the Andrew Taylor guy,
only meat and water.
There's the liver king, and anyway, there are some people who go into end up discovering something particular, and then that forms their whole basis of understanding, and they're just how they decide to make a meal plan and such. Well, all I know is this. I remember when I was younger, probably a beginning teacher, and I was rushed in the morning to get to work, and so I would usually skip breakfast. And I remember sometimes at work, especially mid-morning, late morning, I would get all sweaty
and shaky,
and a little bit shaky. And I wondered, what the heck is this? And I didn't know anything back then.
And he was very, very skinny back then. I was married to him then, and I remember.
And I remember somebody telling me that you have like hypoglycemia.
Hypoglycemia.
Yeah, right. And I wasn't quite sure what that meant, other than I get a little bit shaky, I get a little bit sweaty, and if I went and ate something, then it would kind of even me out, because I get a little jumpy too, and
grumpy too. He'd get hangry for sure.
Hangry. So somebody, you know what? I think this. I don't remember who recommended. You know what? Don't skip breakfast. Eat something for breakfast before you go to work. And so I would eat something for breakfast, and if I ate something that was just like bread or carbs, I would be okay for a little while, and then after a while, middle of the morning again, I would get a little a spike up in my blood sugar, and then it would go down low,
and then I'd be shaky again, and grumpy
and sweating, and then I thought, I got to fix this somehow. And what would really, I think, I just call it, what would tide me over is if I put peanut butter on my toast, and maybe butter and peanut butter on my toast. Or maybe even just having some peanut butter. If I was in a big hurry, I just grab a spoonful of peanut butter and go out the door. And that would stick with me the entire morning. In fact, I could sometimes not even eat much of a lunch at all, and it would stick with me and make me more even throughout the entire day. And I'm sure that was what my blood sugar was doing, and I didn't even know.
Yeah, we had to keep peanut butter in the house. It was an emergency in our house if there was no peanut butter, because Jeff would be this way on the weekends too. He'd be working on some project, and all of a sudden he'd be sweaty and a little dizzy, and he'd look a little weird. I'd say he lost his intelligence. All of a sudden he'd be from this brilliant man to kind of dumb. He couldn't think, and he was weird. And I knew to make peanut butter toast for him, and I'd give him peanut butter toast and a glass of milk. And then, within a few minutes, he'd be my intelligent husband again, and he'd stop shaking, and then he'd be nice too.
But even though I would have probably preferred to have something like a cinnamon roll for breakfast, when I would do those things, I would feel great for a little while. And I think I was like a spike in my blood sugar, and then it would crash, and then I'd be shaky and
sweaty.
And even though I liked
even though they were a lot of calories, because you can eat a lot of calories worth of cinnamon rolls. And this was back when Jeff was just crazy thin. He was so thin. The guy didn't have hardly any body fat. He had a lot of muscles and he had a lot of bones, but he didn't have a lot of extra body fat. And he could eat 4 or 5 cinnamon rolls at my mom's house, because she always knew Jeff was so skinny, she could give him as much as she wanted, because he would.
I would not eat the cinnamon rolls. I would resist that, Gina. I would eat things that
You
have
would
fat.
eat cinnamon rolls at my mom's at Christmas time. You ate the cinnamon rolls, but we always had to make sure my mom had peanut butter at her house. Yeah. And this was in Illinois where it was snowy at Christmas time, but we had to make sure. And my mom didn't keep peanut butter in the house, so she'd have to buy peanut butter just because Jeff was coming, because you did eat them cinnamon rolls because they smelled good. But you had to have peanut butter toast, or, so you had to have some peanut butter afterwards, or you'd be in trouble. So even if you ate 1,000 calories, which he could do, 1,000 calories worth of cinnamon rolls, he could get a sugar low, a little while later, and need the peanut butter.
I guess what I'm saying is this, that everybody has some sort of personal experience of something that happened to them. And as I was reading this chapter, and maybe happened to you too, you were looking at what the results were through the lens of what your personal experience is. And like Mindy says, that's called confirmation bias.
Yeah.
But I also believe that you have to find something that works for you.
Exactly. That's what I got the most out of this chapter.
Yeah, it was almost a wash. Oh, we did a study with the low carb, and then we did a study with the low fat, and compared them, blah blah blah. Oh, and like the amount of calories, or I'm sorry, the weight that they lost was like a wash.
It was very, very similar. Now, Kevin got in trouble when he did his first experiment. His first experiment, he had a group of people that for 5 days they and Mindy's making Jeff laugh. She's like, Jeff, are you saying that everybody is different and every body is different? Yes, Mayor Mindy, he is. And that is Mayor Mindy's favorite expression.
Traditionally, when Gina had said something to me before we met you, Mindy, and heard your wise words, she would tell me like, oh, everybody's different. I would say, not me. I'm exactly the same. Anyway.
Yeah, he was teasing. Yeah. He's a big teaser. But anyway, one of the experiments that Kevin did is he had a group of people. The first 5 days, they ate a balanced diet, and a little bit of everything. A balanced diet.
But they were controlling the amount of calories.
Oh yeah, they were controlling the amount of calories.
So that's something else there, Gina, because that and I think that came out later on where he had a problem with this.
Right.
You're going to mention
yes.
Okay. All right.
I'm starting with the first one.
Sorry, because that relates to my own experience too.
Yes. So the first experiment, it was calorie controlled, and the first 5 days, everybody ate the same balanced diet, but they ate a balanced diet, a little bit of everything, proteins, carbs, and fats, balanced. And then after 5 days, half of the group, after the 5 days, he cut their calories by a third, took 33% calories off. So they would be in a calorie deficit, okay? And half of the group, he gave them low carbohydrates, high fats, but low carbs. And the second group, he gave, did I say low fat and high carb? And then did the opposite for the other group. So like one side was eating low fat, and the other side was eating low carb. And then weighing their fat or weighing them and
by the way, I wouldn't have liked
checking
to
their
have been
body
that
fat
guy
and body muscles.
who had to collect all the urine and feces.
That's
really, not the job I want.
No, it was a big time experiment where they stayed and were monitored that entire time. And then after 2 weeks, they gave them the 5-day diet where they ate a balanced diet again. And then they reversed it. And so half of the other half of the people did the opposite diet, either low fat or low carb. So that way, each individual person had an opportunity to do low fat for a couple of weeks with a 33% deficit of calories. And later, they got an opportunity to do the opposite and do the low carb for 2 weeks. So each individual person in that group got to experience both ways. And when it was all said and done at the end of that experiment, it showed that the people who ate the lower fat lost a little bit more body fat than the people who did the low carb. Well, this made the low carb people really mad, people in the low carb camp. And they're like, wait, but you're giving everybody the same amount of calories. And part of why low carb really works is you're not as hungry. So maybe naturally in the wild, you'd eat less calories, all said and done.
Plus
if
the
you were
water.
allowed, and water, you would be allowed, on both of them are drinking water, but you would be allowed to, if you were allowed to eat as many calories as you wanted in your category, it may be a difference, because the low carb camp, the keto people and the carnivore people were like, hey, it's going to stop your hunger. You didn't measure hunger. And you gave everybody the same amount of calories. They didn't have the opportunity to go raid the fridge because they were still hungry. There was no fridge to raid. They only could eat what the scientists gave them.
That's what I wanted to mention, Gina.
But that was the other. He did another experiment.
When I eat something that is high sugar, and I have, and I have a story about that in a second here, and it's different than if I eat something which is high protein and maybe some fat. Like, for instance, when I get a salad for lunch and I put in that serving of chicken, the rotisserie chicken, it's perfect, and I don't feel hungry for a long time.
Yep, that works for Jeff.
Say, for instance, Halloween comes around.
Which it did.
And say we shop at Costco, and we get the big bag of candy to pass out.
Yes, we did.
And then say I'm in charge of hiding it so you don't eat them whenever you like after Halloween is done because we have leftovers.
And I ate zero candy after Halloween. I thought he had it hidden pretty well. I did. I didn't even talk to him about the hidden candy until yesterday, when Jeff said he'd kind of like to have a piece of candy. We were at a store after we had worked out.
But they had the single.
And he wanted to buy a single candy.
The mixed candy where you get you could choose like a handful, or you choose like one little
piece. We were at Winco, and they have like the bulk bins, and you could have one. Yeah. You could have one piece of candy in a bulk bin. And he was looking at that, and I said, Jeff, you don't need that. We still have all that Halloween candy that you hid. Instead, just eat one of those when we get home.
And I said to her, Gina, it was hidden. I hid it so you wouldn't just run across it, but I knew where it was. And if I eat one high sugary thing, the problem is that it never satisfies. And I can tell myself when I eat the first one, I'm just going to have one. I'll just have one. And then after I finish it, oh, you know what? I want one more. And then
it was a chocolate variety pack,
they were
so
fun
it had
size.
All the good fun size.
Yeah, so they were smaller,
candies.
The fun size. But before I knew it, there was 10 of them gone. Anyway, so
in a day,
it was really hard for me to do this. I'd never done this before, but I took the bag of candy that was left over from Halloween, and I tied it up into a garbage bag, and I threw it in the garbage dumpster.
And he's never done that before. He has never thrown away candy before.
And I was thinking, can I do it? Oh, Gina's probably going to be mad at me. I'm throwing this. You know what? I don't care, because I just cannot resist.
And he didn't talk to me about it, so I didn't know he threw it away.
When I eat like the chicken, the rotisserie chicken, if I ate a serving of that, it isn't like I get done eating it. Oh, I have to have another serving of rotisserie chicken. I have to have it. But it is with the high carb, the high sugar thing. So I think the hunger part of it is if they get an experiment that can test that better. I think if you could choose as much as you want to eat, I know if I had as much as I want to eat, and one of them was a big pile of the Halloween candy, I would eat the whole bag.
Yeah, and he is very proud of himself that he threw it away. I was a little mortified because I was like, I would give it away to charity, because I have different charities that I help out,
for someone,
and I could have donated it to charity, because I was okay that. Because it was November 15th, and I hadn't asked for even one piece of Halloween candy. Is
it a donation to someone if you give them something that you know is bad for them?
That was his response to that. So anyway. He threw it all away. which was very interesting because he's never done that before.
So whatever thing I get on, I'm going to have to continue to do something that is not a high, doesn't allow me to do high sugar.
Now, you need to know, Kevin did another experiment. So this is interesting, and I'm going to explain it without Jeff interrupting because it's important. So the low carb camp was like, hey, listen, you didn't measure hunger, and you calorie controlled all these people, and it wasn't a very long experiment. We feel that over time, over the longer period of time, people lose more weight doing the low carb, and because it makes them not as hungry. So Kevin was like, oh, that's good reasoning. Let's try it. So he did another experiment, and this one I think lasted a couple of months. It was longer than just a month, 2 weeks of this, 2 weeks, well, a month and 2 weeks, because you have the 5 days each time where they ate a balanced diet, and then 2 weeks doing low carb, then 5 days where they eat the same thing, are balanced, and then another 2 weeks where they ate low fat. This time it was a longer, bigger experiment, and he let the participants eat as much of what they wanted. However, I am sure when the group that got to eat the high carb, they didn't give them a bunch of Halloween candy, because it mentioned in there about it being they're talking about eating non-processed foods, so healthy foods, because there's healthy carbohydrates, of apples and bananas and potatoes. There are good for you healthy carbs from fruits and vegetables and whole grains. And so the two camps, or the two sets of experimental groups here. One could eat all they wanted with high fat in it and low carbs, and the other group could eat as much food as they wanted, but their choices were low in fat and higher in carbs, lots of carb choices. And so people got to eat as much as they wanted. They were still under they were being watched. They were living there. So they were not eating Twinkies and Ho-Hos. They were eating carbohydrate foods that are nutritious. So with nutritious carbohydrate foods, they could eat what they want. And then the same, they could have the high fat group could eat, I don't know, steaks and whatever, a lot of high fat foods with very low carbs, but they could eat as much of that as they wanted. And then they weighed them and looked at how much fat was in their body. And that is towards the end of the chapter. I should be able to read it to you. After he did that, it was very interesting that, let's see. Okay, and yet again, so on page 79 of chapter 4 at the top, he says the low-fat diet came out with an advantage again. Each person consumed fewer calories eating low-fat despite much higher levels of insulin after the meals and more insulin secreted throughout the day compared to the low-carb diet period. They also lost a little more body fat despite markedly higher levels of insulin. But he still says when it's all said and done, it wasn't a big difference. So on the top of page 81, he says, our point is this: neither low fat nor low carb diets have been shown to have a big fat loss advantage as proponents on either side claim. Even the low fat edge Kevin kept finding was marginal. Over the longer term, randomized controlled trials showed that weight loss is virtually indistinguishable between the two diets.
What about the candy diet?
Yeah, but there was no candy in
didn't
that.
do a candy diet.
And I think we're going to that's probably going to come up in one of these later chapters, talking about processed foods and how that affects hunger levels. But I found that very interesting. And also it's super interesting at the beginning of this book, it did talk about a gentleman named Andrew Taylor. He ate only potatoes and water and a beer on Friday. He'd have one beer on Friday, but the rest of the days of the week, only sweet potatoes and white potatoes and seasonings. No butter, no sour cream, which is a bummer because you know what? I could eat potatoes with butter, sour cream, and a little cheddar cheese for the rest of my life. I think I could eat that every day and be happy because it's one of my favorite things. Yum, yum, yum. But his potatoes had no fat on him. I mean, so he really was he was a zero fat diet because there's not fat in beer either. So he was really a zero fat because it was just potatoes and spices on his potatoes for a solid year. And he lost 114 pounds doing it. And his blood pressure went down, his cholesterol went down, all of his lab numbers were fabulous, and that's all he ate was potatoes
and he had to take
for a year and a beer every Friday.
Vitamin B12 is a supplement.
Yes.
That was not supplied by potatoes.
Correct. He did take a vitamin B12 supplement. And then the other guy, way back in the beginning of the 1900s, who liked to explore the Arctic, he also did an entire year where all he ate was meat and water, and that was it. And his the meat he ate was very high in fat. It was fatty meats. It wasn't like boneless, skinless chicken breast. He ate fatty meats and water for an entire year. And son of a gun, he lost a lot of weight, and he had his blood work and stuff done, and he had good blood pressure, and all of his numbers were fantastic too. So your body can you have flex fuel.
That part was really interesting to me.
Yeah.
And when they compared it to those cars that are labeled flex fuel, that can run on more than just one thing, your body is adaptable to be able to run off of carbs, run off of proteins, run off of fats, whatever you got, you can probably deal with it.
And I think what really will work best is what's your favorite? Your favorite could be eating a balanced diet. Your favorite could be eating low carb. Your favorite could be eating low fat. Either way, you're going to be okay.
Now, would you say, though, that a calorie is a calorie? Pretty much.
Kinda. That's kind of what he's discovering, because he said, there was little differences where the low fat camp won, but just a smidgen, not like a big difference, just a smidgen, just a slight edge. So I think it really is best on now. My brother, when he talked to us about doing the 4-4-4 plan, and when he does it, he loses 60 pounds and he's lost weight on it numerous times. It always works for him when he decides to do it. But when he does it to the letter of the law. When he eats his 1,600 calories, he had told me that when he would eat like a McDonald's quarter pounder with cheese, and it has like 520 calories, but he only had,
400
or 420, whatever it is. And he needed to, there was a little bit of calories more than he needed. He'd just pinch off part of the bun and throw it away because he was going to eat his calories exactly right. And he would do it exactly every 4 hours. He did everything perfectly. And he counted the calories in his fruits and vegetables because he was like, a calorie is a calorie. So if he was going to have 400 calories before he went to bed, he'd have 2 Pop-Tarts a lot of times. And he was okay with that. And Jeff and I looked at it and went, oh, I'm going to do the Weight Watcher version of if you're eating a non-starchy, low calorie vegetable, that would be considered a freebie. Because if I had to use use the few calories that are in celery and carrots and stuff, I wouldn't eat them because I'd rather eat the Pop-Tart or whatever. And I knew I want to have good nutrition too. So I couldn't do it. So what we did instead is we still watch our calories, but you'll see when you look at my diet journals, because I do post them on, if you go to Anchor Moments, you can click on posts. And it's kind of like Facebook in a way where, I can put a picture and just words. And I have given copies of my food journal of different days, so you can see, what is it that she's eating, and I'm showing you what I ate and where I keep track of things. What was I going to say? Oh, but vegetables, I put freebie. So like a lot of times, like today, I had 2 eggs scrambled with a 1/4 cup of cottage cheese, about 2 cups of fresh spinach, 1 teaspoon of olive oil. So it was kind of a keto breakfast because I didn't have toast with it. I had a lot of protein and I had low carb vegetables. But my spinach, that's a freebie food for me. So I don't care how many calories are in my spinach. I'm not counting them. And I didn't count the calories in my onion. And I didn't count the calories in my sliced tomato. But all of those things, I do count the fiber and any protein that's in those vegetables, but I don't count the calories in those vegetables because I want the incentive to eat vegetables because I know they're good for me. I do count my calories in fruit, and I still like fruit, but fruit's a joy to eat. And so, if there's some calories in the fruit, I'm willing to count those towards my daily calories. But anyway, but my brother, he loses weight and his cholesterol, everything is really good for him just by calorie counting. I have another friend that's really into carnivore, and he has lost a ridiculous amount of weight, and he eats like
just meat
and cheese. So he'll have like a pile of hamburgers with cheese on it and steaks and stuff.
The patty is also the bun.
Yeah, the patty is the bun. I mean, just a ton of it. And I look at that, I think, oh my gosh, wouldn't that give you like really horrible cholesterol and stuff? Not for him. He's a really smart gentleman, and he gets even extra lab work done where he pays for his labs himself so he can stay on top of it. And he has a doctor, both. But he stays on top of it, and he's like, Gina, all my numbers are down. I'm doing great. I'm doing absolutely great. So it really depends on what's best for you.
2 things.
Yep.
Number 1, we're limited on time today.
Yep. So we need to go and see what our peeps
I'm going to tell you my ending in that.
Okay.
Then you can go and look at all the comments. Okay.
Because we're going to do comments in a minute.
And see if I remember what it was I was going to say. I look forward to hearing about what they kind of teased about were things like your gut biome and fiber, and the things that you can eat that actually help prevent things like cancer or doesn't feed your cancer.
Right.
Those kind of things. And
candy bars are supposed to feed cancer.
Sorry.
Just saying.
I threw them away.
I know, and he threw them away. I'm proud of him.
And I don't remember the other thing I was going to say. So maybe you go ahead and start.
If I remember, I'm going to let you interrupt me and pop right in here. Well, let's see what our friends here have to say. See, we got Mindy here, and we got Mounjaro Journey with Pam in the house, and Cindy. Oh, and you guys, the author, Kevin Hall, one of the 2 authors of this book, he is going to be our guest when we do the last chapter on January 18th, 2026. You don't want to miss that episode, and we can ask him questions. So that's going to be really great. And yep, and Pam saying, hi, mateys. Or should I say ship mateys? Yeah, either works.
I like it.
And Juanita says, hello, everyone. Happy Sunday. Hi, Juanita. Okay. And Mindy says, I was totally low carb because it worked for me once, but now I eat a more balanced diet, high protein, but balanced fat and carbs. I need carbs for my workouts, and fats are essential for nutrition absorption. Yeah, it does help with that. Absolutely. And I can say though, for I'm more balanced. I try not to eat too many carbs because I'm diabetic. So I try to eat a little bit lower on my carbs, but I'm not a big meat eater. And so if I had to do the carnivore diet, I'd probably, I don't know, I'd probably starve. I wouldn't want to eat a whole bunch of meat. I'd be like, oh God, not a hamburger again.
Maybe that's how they lose weight.
Yeah, maybe. But for me, I've always been more interested in carbs. So I try to eat more balanced and make sure I'm getting more meat in and eating some fewer carbs, but I'm still more balanced. I don't think you would call me low carb other than my breakfast today.
I remember what it is.
Okay.
What company is it that's making the thing like your Freestyle Libre, but you don't have to have a prescription? Aren't they coming up with that?
They might already have it out. We can look.
Well, I'm looking forward to that because then you can get real-time information about those things that
about your blood sugar is doing.
About your blood sugar, but to know it would be really nice.
Mm-hmm. And having type 2 diabetes, I wear Freestyle Libre frequently, and that helps me.
I'm not going to steal yours.
Okay.
Okay.
And Traveling T says, good afternoon to everybody. Hi, Traveling T. And we got Grant in the house. Awesome. And Pammy says complex carbs, maybe. Yeah. And so I think when they did, we can ask Kevin Hall when he's the author, when he's our guest on January 18th. But it sounds to me like they were eating as many complex carbs as they wanted. So really, it was not a junk food diet for either groups. They were eating, nutritious, but within their different camps of either low fat or low carb. And Mindy says, Gina, your brother's 4-4-4 plan is flawed because he's had to do it multiple times. We have to find something sustainable. Yeah. I agree that a calorie is a calorie, but the nutrients can be very different. True. And he probably could do it if he was on a GLP-1, which he's not, because it takes away because of the food noise. And I did it for a while, but like I say, I did it differently than him in that I would let myself have
break meal.
His plan, you had 1 day a week you could have a break meal. You could even have a whole break day if you wanted to, but he felt he did better with just a break meal instead of a break day. And so we did that, Jeff and I, and Jeff lost 72 pounds and I lost like 46 or 47 pounds, but it didn't last for me.
But the
and
good
then I
part
gained
for
my
me,
way back.
I still have kept off 35 of those 70.
And so he's kept off half of his weight, which has been good.
I'm just addicted to those. If I don't eat candy for a significant period of time, I get the memory of it out of my head and I can know that's not good for me and I don't have to eat it. But once I start,
it's hard to stop. And it happens to me too.
It's like that Doritos commercial. Don't worry, we'll make more.
Yeah. Oh, hey, and we got Sandra Green in the house, and she says, I'm still waiting for this book from the library. Oh my gosh. Somebody's got it and they're really enjoying it. It is a very good book, and I'm learning a lot. And Mindy says, the CGMs already exist. Abbott has the Lingo and Dexcom has Stello. They're available over the counter.
And
so we can get one for you.
A prescription then?
Not if it's over the counter. I knew that was coming. Wait. Okay. And that's all the comments we have so far. Did anybody have any wins this week? We always share wins too.
Thanks.
Anyway, I appreciate all you guys. Thank you for showing up for our weight loss book club.
I do have a win.
Oh, which one of your wins?
I threw away the extra candy.
Yeah, that was a big win. And you know what?
I had the strength to do it. It was hard.
Yeah, that would be hard. And I'm proud of myself because I didn't ask him for it. Because, I could have asked him, say, hey, can I have an Almond Joy or something? And he could go back and just bring me the one. And I would write it down and have it be part of my calories for the day. But I didn't need it. I didn't need it. Hey, and Mindy's saying, good job to you, Jeff. Yeah. So
hard.
that is a win too.
You don't think so?
I think it is a win. I think it's a win. I have a hard time with throwing things away.
Me too.
But I'm proud of you, Jeff, because that had to have been hard. And we got Laura in the house, and Sandra says the candy has been calling my name for the past few weeks too, Jeff. I know candy is so hard, and even if you're on a GLP-1, for me, where my GLP-1 works is when it was hidden and I didn't see it, I didn't eat it. I knew it existed somewhere, wherever Jeff had it hidden, but I didn't need to have it. But if we left it out in the open, like on the kitchen counter or something in a bowl, oh man, all bets are off. And once I have one, I'll want to eat more and more and more. So it's best for me to have it hidden and just knowing I can have a piece if I need it. But if I don't see it, it's kind of like out of sight, out of mind. And Mindy says, I'd rather it go to waste than go to my waist. Oh, that's a good one too, Mindy. Yes. Absolutely. Absolutely. Well, you guys, on Sunday afternoons, I have a meeting at my house to help with a charity for a Christmas charity for kids. And people are going to be coming over pretty soon. So we're going to have to say goodbye. Be sure to look out for Chapter 5. We're going to be here at the same time next week. 1:30 Arizona time, 2:30 Central, 3:30 Eastern. And for my UK friends, that's only 8:30 at night, so we can get you in here too. Hey, and Pammy says, I was watching the Carnivore Sunday School just before this live from the UK. I love Joe's Sleep and Slim Down Journey. She's a hoot. I need to have her as a guest on my show. Was a guest on. It was so interesting as one lady, Stephanie Taylor, is doing a dry fast. Oh, I've never heard of a dry fast. Oh, for her cancerous tumors. Wow. Yeah. While Jeff was battling his bladder cancer, we were told that it wouldn't be good for him to have candy because if you have a lot of sugar feeds cancer and makes it grow even more. So, yeah.
I know.
Yep. But he doesn't have any cancer right now.
Right.
Woo-hoo. We did a video last week. He had his 3-month cancer screen and still no cancer returning. So we're excited about that. And it was a good job. He threw away that Halloween candy. All right, everybody. Love you guys. Be sure to like and subscribe. And if you are catching this as a replay, put your comments in the comment section and I promise I will respond to you and we can keep this going. And please let me know any wins you've had this week because we do love celebrating you. And Patty says, I've done mainly low carb and I do like meat. So carnivore has always been doable for me. But now I add good carbs, the complex carbs to it. So now she's doing more balanced, which is great too. And Pammy's been a guest on my show and she's lost 160 pounds. And she has a really great YouTube channel you can check out too. Oh, we didn't see who gets to wear the crown.
Where's your phone?
Oh, here's my phone in my pocket. Let's see who gets to wear the crown today. Do I have it up? Here we go. And the winner wearing the crown. Why is it not showing me?
I do not know.
Usually, it still says notify me. Oh, it's like it hasn't gone live yet. Try again. There we go. And our top fans today who wrote the most stuff. We got number 3, Sandra Green. Yay! Number 2, Mounjaro Journey with Pam, so she gets to wear her crown. And number 1, Mayor Mindy. Woohoo! And Pam does say, right, the low carbs work best for me due to insulin resistance and due to having gastric bypass. It works better for my body. You've got to figure out what's the best for your body. And absolutely. And Sandra said, snuck in at the end. Well, we're glad you are here, Sandra, and you got 3rd place. That's the best. Yay! All right, everybody. Hold on to your anchor moments and make it a great day. Bye-bye. Bye-bye.